During my speech today, I would like to share with you my experience on moving to Arizona from Mississippi and share some of the differences between the two regions of the country. My dad was transferred here for employment in the summer of 2012. This would mean that I would be starting my second grade year in a new school in a new state while not knowing anyone. This was especially hard on me because in addition to being very young, I am on the spectrum. Because I moved late in the summer, I had to wait until the beginning of the school year before I was able to meet anyone and make friends. Luckily, I had a great first year thanks to a fantastic second grade teacher who made all the difference. I was able to make friends, keep up with grades, and start my new life in Arizona on the right foot. I still keep in touch with some of those friends to this day. Over 36.5 million individuals moved in the year of 2012, which would result in 12 out of every 100 people. Most of these were simple moves within the same city, which usually isn't a major life event other than having to move schools. In situations like mine, it is much more complicated because we moved to a completely different region of the country. In situations like mine, this presents just many challenges because different regions vary greatly across the country. Here are some of the differences I experienced when moving from the deep south to the southwest. There are many geographical differences between the area I left and here. One of the biggest differences is population size. Arizona has around 7.2 million residents, while Mississippi only had 2.9 million. Unlike Mississippi, where the 2.9 million are spread out throughout the state, over 5 million of Arizona's 7.2 million people lived here in the Phoenix metro area. This entire state of Mississippi has a little over half of the Phoenix metro population. This means there is much less of a rural backwoods, small town culture in Arizona as it would be in Mississippi. Religion has more of a role in everyday life in the South than most areas of the country. Mississippi is also known as the Bible Belt. There are churches located on almost every corner in most of the cities. The heavy influence on religion can be seen in almost everything from social structures, politics, and history. The southwest area of the country is far younger than the areas back east, so we have a very different influence in our culture. Given our close proximity to the border of Mexico, Arizona has a very heavy Hispanic population and a heavy influence on our culture base that can be seen in our architecture, food, music, and more. Also, Phoenix is one of the fastest growing cities in America, most of which are people like me who moved from a different region. This makes for a much more diverse population, along with a very unique culture base as more people bring existing backgrounds while absorbing existing customs and traditions as well as putting their own spin on them. Another point I'd like to discuss with you is sports. In Mississippi, as it is through most of the South, college sports are far more popular than the professional sports. This is most seen in football. States such as Tennessee, where they have very successful SEC teams and NFL teams. The NFL team will always play second field to the SEC team. This is the opposite in other areas of the, such as here in Arizona. Even if ASU or U of A were consistently competing for championships, the Cardinals will always be the dominant football team. The move to Arizona changed my life in many ways. These changes were neither a good nor bad reflection on either area of the country. The move to Arizona exposed me to much more open and diverse experiences and allowed me to see and experience many things I wouldn't have seen back in the South. I often hear that moving out of the South was a good move. This is true on some levels. There's much more to it, and stereotypes don't always tell the whole story. As you can see, moving to a whole new area of the country and experiencing an entirely different way of life comes with many challenges, but can also be very rewarding. Many people go through life only seeing from one perspective, but some of us are lucky enough to get to see multiple perspectives. I think I'm a much better person in the long run for getting the chance to live in two very different parts of the country. I appreciate you guys listening to my speech and letting me share a small part of my experience with you guys. The source I used today was an article back in 2012 stating why people are moving, which is where I gathered some of the facts for today's speech.